Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast. My name is Joseph Sangle. This is presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. And today we're presenting episode number
89.
That is the voice of my co-host, Megan Hibbard. Are you fired up today?
Fired up. Happy Monday.
It's the middle of March. And
That's
so you've had your
wild.
birthday. And when's your son's birthday?
It's tomorrow.
Woo!
I can't believe it.
He's going to be one. Big
I know.
party.
I'm going to cry tonight.
Big party. I don't understand that thing of crying.
It
that
just
they
is
get older.
like,
They're
he's
so
not
cute.
a baby anymore.
Which
like,
is awesome. Now he's smiley and he's starting to jabber
he's
and
so
he's walking.
Fun. He literally is the funnest thing ever.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm not sad that
So
he's
much
not
better
baby.
than a puppy.
Yes.
I remember when you were excited about your dog, but
I know.
this is nowhere
This is-
close.
Yeah,
Barkley's been shuffled off to the side for now.
he has.
But
He might
the good news
reappear.
is he has a friend in Logan because Logan loves his puppy.
Yes, they're still working on that plan,
Okay.
but they're getting there.
That's awesome. This is episode number 89, if you can believe it. Tell everybody what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, today we're talking about credit cards. So the question is, can you share your thoughts about credit cards? I've been listening to Dave Ramsey, and he is really against credit cards. However, most people have credit cards.
Yep, we will
What
share
to
our
do.
thoughts about credit cards.
Yes.
And that's going to be fun. And, you know, credit cards are much maligned, but they're also highly utilized in society. And so we're going to talk about that reality in this episode. It's going to be awesome. But let's talk about what our featured resource is for this month.
Yes, this month our featured resource is the Savings Challenge, and chances are pretty high that you're wasting some money each and every month. You probably already know it, and you probably feel it. So let's take care of it this month. In the Savings Challenge, we'll show you ways you can save money so you can better fund your dreams. If you want to save money in your budget and put more in your dreams pocket, sign up today. You can just go to iwbnin.com/savings challenge, and it's only $14.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we hope you'll join that. You can save more than $1,000 in your annual budget, we believe, by following the tips that we share in that 20-day challenge. And so we have come to my favorite moment of the podcast. I love it each and every week. Every single Monday is my favorite moment. I hear some of you like it too. When I sing it, let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is sponsored by the banking section of the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not Next Steps page. This is where you'll find all of our favorite banks who offer the best interest rates and zero fees. Check it out today by visiting iwbnin.com and click on Next Steps and select Banking.
Yes. And I am fired up to talk about right now relevant topics in the current money event section. Nailed it. Here on the Money Money Tip Podcast. And today I'm going to talk about one that's really newly relevant to me. I'm sure it's relevant for you too.
It is.
And today's topic,
Yep.
spending on pets.
Whew.
Woo! Now, Megan has a puppy. What's his name?
Barkley.
What type of doggy is he?
He's a sheepadoodle, so he's half Old English sheepdog, half poodle.
Yeah, and he's like black and white with curly hair. Does he shed or does he have to have a haircut?
He has to have a haircut.
Yeah. And and does that cost money?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I told you it's right now relevant.
It does, but we do it ourselves a lot
Do you
of times.
really?
We do
Wow.
back and forth.
You guys
So
are dog groomers.
Sometimes we get them groomed professionally, and sometimes we do it ourselves.
Well, let's tell everyone first about our pets.
Yes.
Yes.
Fear not, we have a picture.
And so we have pictures. So do we have a picture? Oh, we have a picture of both our puppies. If you're watching on YouTube, the benefit is you get to see our puppies. And that one on the right is Barkley. Look, I'm sitting in front of the sunflowers.
He's at the Biltmore.
That's at the Biltmore.
I actually have one of
They
him.
let you take him to the Biltmore?
Yeah, so you can take him outside. You can't take him inside the house, obviously.
Wow.
But I actually have a picture of him sitting in front of the Biltmore house, which is really funny, and like the huge houses in the background.
That is
But
awesome. He's such a good doggy.
He is.
And the one on the left here is my new baby golden retriever named Ginger Justice.
Precious.
And my son got the first name, and my little daughter was frustrated she didn't get a name, so we let her name the middle name, so Justice. So it's Ginger Justice Sangle.
Do you always call her Ginger Justice, or do you call her Ginger?
I call her Mutt Pup. That's my
Pup.
come here, little Mutt Pup. But I love her so much, and she is a golden retriever,
She's
and
beautiful.
she's beautiful, and
Yeah.
she sheds at another level.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
we
it
didn't
is
want
like
the shedding.
it's like somebody blowing a dandelion every
Yeah.
time she rubs against something. It's hilarious to watch. But anyhow, I ran across some statistics that are mind-blowing about pet ownership. By the way, we do want to hear about your pet too.
Yeah.
Like you should share us on Facebook. We're going to share this picture on our Facebook page when we release this, and we want to see your picture of your mutt pup, and affectionately. Or if you have a kitty cat, I like kitty cats, but I don't have one of those right now. I ran across some statistics that really are mind-blowing about pet ownership. Do you know, Megan, in 1994, Americans spent $17 billion on their pets.
That's crazy.
In 2001, just 7 years later, it had grown to $28.5 billion.
With a B.
Woo! In 2010, in the midst of the Great Recession, it had grown to $48 billion.
No Great Recession in the pet world.
Last year, in 2019, the number is now $75.38 billion.
So what does that include?
Food, grooming,
Toys.
buying and selling dogs, toys.
Anything related.
Anything related to puppies, veterinarian services, medicine, pet insurance,
Shoo.
Cremation services.
That's a real thing.
In fact, the current U.S. population is about 327 million. I looked that up. They're doing a census this year. They do it every 10 years. It's part of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And so 2020, it's the year of the census. We'll get a new number. But doing the quick math with the latest number, 327 million, we spend, if it's every man, woman, and child spends equal amount on a pet, it's $230 a person on our pets.
It's crazy.
Isn't that amazing? And so I've got an article. I'll link it in the show notes. But here are my thoughts about these numbers. Number one, I love cats and dogs and pets in general. I have chickens. I have a puppy. I like my neighbor's puppies. It's awesome. And it seems like a worthwhile investment to me. I mean, $230 per person is not bad until you figure out you have 5 people in your family. And you're like, yep, that's about right. I think I was carrying our fair share, especially when she chewed my boots, chewed the screen door, chewed on the woodwork, things like that.
Lovely things.
Well, lovely things. I wonder what the cost would be if we included all those things that our dogs and cats tore up. Like repairing the baseboard. Is that figured in?
Probably not.
Repairing my screen door that my dog decided to chew? The hole that she dug to China? Yeah, it's awesome. What's the worst trouble Barkley has ever gotten into?
Well, he hasn't really gotten into trouble, but Jordan bought me a new pair of flip-flops one year for my birthday, and let's just say the next morning they were no longer new. I accidentally left them out. I guess it was my fault, but because he was still a puppy. And then one time he chewed on the remote. Okay, not too bad, except it was a rental property.
Oh.
So it was not our remote.
Yikes.
So that was kind of bad.
Well, mine has eaten the screen door. She's chewed on the wooden baseboard. She's gnawed on the rocking chair and dug some pretty incredible holes, as I described. But in summary, in my Right Now Relevant Current Money Event section, I want to say that not everything is just a money decision. We all know that. There are some intangibles that pets bring to our lives that just cannot be measured with dollars and cents.
Joy.
Just be sure that your pet isn't eating up or chewing up your ability to save for retirement in the future.
That's good.
Is that a good little Right Now Relevant tip? I thought it was great. Plus, we got to talk about our puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love puppies. Yeah. I love Buckley.
That's it for today's Current Money Events section.
All right. Our success story today comes from Casey. And Casey says, Joe, you came to X Church, which is one of the churches that we've been to. It's formerly known as Crossroads.tv. So a couple years back, and we started implementing this back then. It's been great. Currently on Rung 5, and they're talking about the I Was Broke Now Not ladder, and they're working their way up. Congratulations.
How awesome that. And Rung number 5 is building their savings on up to 3 months, a minimum of 3 months worth of savings, and it means they're debt-free except for their house.
It's awesome.
Get fired up. Way to go, Casey, and thanks so much for sharing that with us on the Facebook page. So let's talk about today's topic of the podcast. Read the question again that we're going to address.
Yes. Our question for today is, can you share your thoughts about credit cards? I've been listening to Dave Ramsey, and he's really against credit cards. However, most people have credit cards.
Yep. So I'm going to, like any good preacher, I guess, I'm going to have a 4-point talk here. Yep. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Point number 1, credit card balances are a symptom. They're not the problem, right? Yep. Having a credit card balance is a symptom, not the problem. Doctors just treating symptoms but not addressing the root cause would be accused of malpractice.
Yeah.
And I remember once telling people how I had chopped up my credit cards and how my credit cards were horrible, and they were horrible because I misused them terribly, and how it had helped me tremendously, chopping them up had, in my journey to become debt-free. And I remember this nice young man named Chris, once after I was kind of going off about how much I was frustrated with my credit cards and how they had enabled me to have a bunch of debt. And he pulled me to the side and he said, Joe, I don't think the credit card was the problem for you. It sounds like you were the problem. And then he proceeded to say, I have credit cards and I have no balances ever, and I always use them with a plan.
Yeah. Must have stung just a little bit to hear that.
It actually didn't sting. It was
a wake up.
It was like somebody slapped me across the face and said, wake up, or dumped the ice bucket of water on top of me.
Yeah.
Like it literally, because what was happening was I was sharing my own experience and projecting that to others. And I realized that not everybody has a credit card balance. We hear about all the statistics, and a lot of people do have credit card balances they don't pay off every month. But the majority, hear me of this, the majority of Americans do not carry a balance every month.
Yeah.
They use them responsibly.
So if you're asking this question, I've been listening, however, most people have credit cards, what should I do? If you're asking the question, is the problem you? So in order to help with the problem, we first have to address that there is a problem. So you have to be willing to say, yes, there's a problem. So do you have credit card balances each month that you can't pay?
So stop. If that's you, if you can't pay the balance off each month,
Yeah.
you are the problem.
Right.
All right, let's
Yep.
continue.
Do you constantly feel overwhelmed by the bills coming in? You know, the credit card bill keeps coming in, this bill keeps coming in, you can't pay them. Maybe.
Or it's more than you plan to spend.
Yeah. So if so, you have to be ready to make a change. And in the next section, we're going to start talking about more.
Yeah, so that's really strong challenge, but we like to be honest right here and brutally honest, ruthlessly honest with ourselves in our own money journeys, and we encourage our listeners to as well, because if we try to do the sugarcoating on it and we put on the mask to ourselves,
Yeah.
the only person we hurt is ourselves.
Yeah.
And so be realistic with yourself. Can you control your credit cards? Because if you have credit card balances, point number 2, it equals you should not have credit cards. No credit cards. If you can't pay off your balance each month, you have no business having a credit card. So let me tell you about my story. I got my first credit card while I was in college. I filled out 3 credit card applications for free stuff. Purdue University. I'm there to study mechanical engineering. I'm naive. I know nothing about money. All I knew is if I fill out this credit card application, I get a free 2-liter of Coca-Cola. Sounded like good wages to me. What's your name? Joseph Sengel. What is your income? $0 per year, week, month. Do you choose? What is your job? I do not have one. Give me this free 2-liter of Coke. It took me 60 seconds. I got a free 2-liter of Coke. That's great wages.
And started a journey.
No. I didn't start a journey that day. I went to I did journey. I journeyed to the next table, and they gave me a free T-shirt. AT&T did to apply to their Universal card, and I got a free T-shirt that advertised their long distance service. Get fired up. And
Showing your age
millennials
a
are all
little
confused.
bit. Yeah.
Yep. There are people my age and older who have scars on their soul for talking too long on long distance, similar to burning up data. And then I journeyed to the next table. American Express offered a free duffel bag if I filled out their credit card application.
Who doesn't want a free duffel bag?
And I was honest. My name is Joe. I have no money. Give me the stuff. A week later, even though I admitted on paper that I had no income and no job, they gave me a credit card.
Oh, yeah.
The next day, I practiced with it.
You're prime real estate for them.
And as I say, I should have applied that wisdom from that kid's show. Swiper, no swiping. But that show wasn't out yet. Come on, Vamonos, everybody, let's go. You're not watching Dora the Explorer yet.
No.
You will. It'll be awesome.
No.
But then I ran up this balance, and I graduated from college. I had this girlfriend. You've met her. Her name's Jen.
Yes.
Been my girlfriend now for
She's
about
very
28
nice.
years. Been my wife for 23 years. And one of the things that I did was she wanted to go visit a friend in Virginia who was getting ready to get married. And so there was she was the best, the matron of honor. What is it? Maid of honor?
Maid of honor.
Maid of honor when you're not married.
Yep.
And so she wanted to go visit her. And I was like, hey, this will be cool. We'll go to Richmond, Virginia. We'll go there. They had some theme park there and all this stuff. So I bought 2 plane tickets for us on a credit card. I bought everything on a credit card.
Why not?
Let's go out to eat, state night on a credit card. And so I graduated with about $6,000 of credit card debt. Now, this is in 96.
Sure.
6,000 is more than it is now.
Yeah.
And then I started to pay it off, and then life happened. The car broke down, put it on a credit card, and then I ended up just running it up over and over again, starting to pay it down, then ran it up again because life happened. I had no savings. And in December of 2002, I had taken a new job with a new employer, forgot a fundamental rule. This could be changing your life. Did you know when you change employers, the old employer stops paying you?
Revolutionary.
And it's revolutionary.
I don't know why they would stop paying.
So I forgot that, and I didn't know when my new employer was going to pay me.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas in December, and we were buying Christmas all on credit card again, and something in me just broke.
Yeah.
And I said, I cannot do this anymore. And so the moment came, I'll never forget it, in the first week of December, when we literally looked at each other, Jenny and I, and said, that's it, no more. And we got our credit cards out and chopped them all up. And then I called all of them and said, turn my account off.
Yeah.
And they said, now, you've been a very good customer. I said, I'm sure I have.
I'm aware.
And they said, now, if you turn this off, this affects your credit score. And I said, this is what happens when you get really frustrated and you've had enough. I said, well, having it affects my bank account. And I would rather have a better bank account and a terrible credit score than a great credit score and nothing in my bank account.
Yeah.
And that began a 6-year journey in which me and Jen had no credit cards. None. What do you do in case of emergency, Joe? We figured it out. And it changed our life. I thought in that moment I was cutting off my lifeline to financial emergencies, and I found out I was cutting off the shackles that were keeping me bound up in the cycle of debt.
Yeah.
So I want to speak to those of you who have credit card balances you do not pay off every month. What's holding you back from cutting them off, chopping them up, turning them off today? Today, not tomorrow, today. Because today's the first day of the rest of your life. Do you want to continue to live in that cycle? And you're hearing from one person who experienced that. So let me ask you, Megan. I think I know the answer to this. Have you ever carried a credit card balance that you weren't able to pay off?
No.
See, look at this. See, it's Megan. She's perfect in every way with her money.
Not true. Not true. But we've just chosen not to put anything on the credit card that we can't pay off that month. So that's just one of our rules, and we're going to talk more about rules later in the episode. But ultimately, we like the miles. So we have a credit card.
So you get miles.
We get miles in ours. And yeah, but we've chosen if we can't pay it off that month, we're not buying it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And so that leads us actually to our third point. So our first point was credit card balances are a symptom, not the problem. The second is if you are carrying a credit card balance every month, you should have no credit cards. So the third point, though, is if you don't carry credit card balances, so no credit card balances, then credit cards are okay. As long as you use them with a plan. Get all the points, miles, and rewards you can. Here's the story. After 6 years of operating without a credit card, I went and got a credit card. I was traveling a lot. I had written this book, I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. It had caught on. People were inviting me to come speak all over. And so it turns out airlines don't care if you're paying cash. In fact, they don't know what to do with cash.
Yeah.
And I was using debit cards, but then I was like, I can use credit cards and get a lot of points, miles, and actually get a lot of these trips for free or next to free.
Yep.
What an amazing thing. And I can argue as an actual company, I hate credit cards that have rewards because that gouges out of our sale. If somebody buys with the credit card, it reduces how much money we get. But those cards are here to stay.
Yeah.
So I figured I might as well be on the receiving end as well.
That's true.
And so I went and got a new credit card. Why did I get one after 6 years? Because of one reason. Because me, myself, and I, the three of us, our behavior had changed.
Yeah.
And as a result, we use a budget, we follow the budget, and we have used credit cards for all of our travel. In fact, since 2008, we spend nearly $1 million a year on credit cards. And let me tell you, that is a lot of points, miles, and rewards. And we have paid not one dime in interest.
Yeah.
We spend according to the budget. We have the budget. We follow it. And that has helped us prosper greatly. And one of the things that we do is we make sure that we use a variety of the different types of cards so that it maximizes the different things we spend money on so that we can reduce the cost. One of them is I have an American Express card. They have pre-negotiated discounts for things that a lot of small businesses need. Like for us, shipping. We ship books. And all the negotiation we had ever done, and we had done some good negotiating. We do quite a bit of volume shipping. Isn't even close to what was pre-negotiated already just by partnering with American Express. This has been a big value.
Yeah.
So, Megan, do you guys use a credit card?
So we do.
How do you use it, and what are your family rules?
For us, it's a great tool. And the one that we have currently, like I said, currently gets us miles. And those miles are actually flying us to Puerto Rico in a couple months. So that's
Really?
exciting. Yeah.
Know that?
Yeah, we're going in May. For Jordan's family, his parents are celebrating their 40th anniversary.
Wow.
And they wanted all of us to go on a vacation with them. So we said, sure. So we're going to Puerto Rico.
That's awesome.
Excited
Muy
about that.
bien.
Yeah. So a couple rules that we have. If we can't pay it off every month, we're not going to spend. So we don't spend if we can't pay it off. And the spending has to fit into our budget that we prepared. And we make sure we track our spending so we know what we spent. And then another big one is significant purchases we talk about together, and we wait at least one night before purchasing them. So usually it's longer because I kind of drag my feet a little bit, but we're waiting some time for those significant purchases.
That's good. I know some people use their credit cards to pay their monthly utilities and bills. Do you do that?
Yes, we do.
So they get all those points.
Yep.
They know they're not going to overspend on their power bill, things like that.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So the fourth thing that I wanted to share is rules that we follow and ones that we teach here at I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, and on the Monday Money Tip podcast. The first one is we pay off the balance every month, sometimes multiple times each month. And so we make sure that we watch that like a hawk so that it is not go late, does not get those fees, does not get interest. And we have rules. We repeat them over and over. We will prepare a budget. And we repeat after ourselves. We will prepare a budget. We will use the credit card according to the budget. That's just a fact. Like, if we don't do that, like, we will chop them up. But as you have shared, for you and Jordan, and as we in my family, and here is the family of businesses we have, you know, it's not hard if you follow the budget and you pay attention to it and you track what you've spent and you make sure you do not spend on major decisions without waiting overnight. You will be able to hold to that. And one of the things that I love is we redeem all these points we get at the end of the year. And Megan can vouch for this. And we give cash and gift cards to our team.
It's awesome.
And because our companies have grown, that number has grown every year.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And so we all get excited. And it is a great thing. And, you know, it costs me no extra money.
Yeah.
I get all these points. I get to redeem all these points and say, okay, let's divvy this up. This is going to be great. And I think the team never, ever is mad to receive portraits of Ben Franklin around Christmas time.
We will take it.
and the other rule that we have is the rates on the cards do not matter to us because we're not going to be paying interest.
Yeah.
And after doing that for 12 years solid, that's a pretty good rule that we know we're not going to pay it. We obviously would want the rate the lowest if you do have a balance. We encourage you to look at 0% balance transfer offers. But I would just say this. Learn good financial habits like budgeting and sticking to the budget, waiting overnight. And when you do that, credit cards will be a helpful thing for you. When I traveled around Europe last summer, it had automatic on that day exchange rate, no exchange rate fees. My credit card was able to be used in all the locations I went through Europe. And that was a wonderful thing. And my credit card is separate from my bank account. If fraud is perpetrated on my credit card, then it's somebody else's money that's gone, the credit card's money.
Right.
If fraud is perpetrated on your debit card, it comes out of your bank account. And I've had many people who have to fight for a long time to get their money back in the account, even though it's fraudulent.
Yep.
So that's why we're saying it's okay to have credit cards if you don't pay a balance every month. I think we have a verse for this week's episode.
We do. It is Romans 13:8, and it says, "Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law."
Romans 13:8. It's so good. Don't leave the debt remain outstanding. In other words, repay what you owe. And so when you do so, you will prosper, and you'll have some points, and you'll get to stay in some hotels for free every now and then. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about our next episode.
All right. Next week, we're going to talk about how to start your small business dream. So, do you dream of starting or owning a small business? Don't miss next week's episode of the Monday Money Tip podcast because we're going to be talking all about how to get started down the path toward realizing your small business dream.
Yes. And I love talking about small business. It is the heartbeat of great economies. And if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to other people who could benefit. If you're watching on YouTube, click that subscribe button. Click that bell. It'll notify you every time an episode is released every single Monday. If you're on Facebook, you can share it. And you can also, at your favorite place that you listen to podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere, you can leave those ratings and reviews, and it will help make our podcast known to others. And if you've implemented one of our tips, please share your success stories with us by emailing it to info@iwvnin.com or sharing it on our social media platforms. Who knows? We may feature your story on the podcast. Anything you want to share as last tip for people?
I think when it comes to credit cards, it's really about you. It's more of a personal thing because it's hard to make an overwhelming blanket statement. You know, we want you guys, if you feel like you're disciplined enough and you have the ability to have it, great, earn the miles, earn the points, get the cash back. That's awesome. But if you're in the category where you're like, I don't think I can, you have to be really honest with yourself and be willing to make the hard decisions so that you can succeed later. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like our episode last week. You're able to say no so you can say yes to other things.
That's exactly what it's about.
Yep.
And so I hope you guys have a great Monday. We'll see you next week right here on Monday with the Monday Money Tip Podcast. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.